Hey everybody, welcome to the kickoff of Nerds Unite Network Day 2, our first content. Thank you, and we have a special guest with us, Reis O'Brien. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I don't even know where to begin. We just talked a couple days ago, it seems, you know?
I'm
going to start over.
Didn't we just do this?
Yeah. I think we just did this, yeah. So anyway, thank you all of you who got up early enjoying the chat. I know it's a work day still, even though we were supposed to be at a con. I still had the vacation, so I took it. Yep. And I kept it, and this is what I decided to do with it.
Smart.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm having a great time. All right, well, let's get right into it. First, we'll do some introductions. I'm Damien from Geek Together. You're muted.
Sorry, Christina.
Robbie.
Day 4.
Clint.
Day 4, we're going to be really good at this. Day 4.
Yes.
Yeah,
maybe,
that's the way it goes.
Maybe.
Just like the real con, where you have to change your rules every day to adjust to what goes on. We'll figure it out. But we'll get better for the next one. All right, well, I needs no introduction, but Reis O'Brien, Funko artist and BIM toy creator. And
that's me.
That's you. So
that's what I do.
Let's get right into it. I know we've done a couple podcasts, and I know that we've talked a lot even just the other day, but I want to go kind of back to one of our first ones over a year ago and really have people understand, like, when did you get into art and what kind of caused your journey to, like, what drew you to becoming an artist?
Honestly, I'm one of those that just doesn't remember a time when I didn't want to make art and didn't want to be an artist. You know, probably one of my earliest memories is taking out a box of crayons and trying to draw Batman and Robin, and because I used to watch the TV show from '66 at my babysitter's house when I was like 3. And so I remember, like, you know, trying to draw them the best I can. And I remember taking the drawing home from my babysitters and my mom looking at it, and she would, like, you know, as moms do, just gushed at how beautiful it was and how I made sure everyone had 5 fingers and stuff like that, you know, and she was, you know, it's positive reinforcement. And that's like one of the first times I went, oh, this gets me attention. So I just kind of stuck with it, and I set out early on, even in, like, from kindergarten on, like, to be known as, like, the kid who draws, you know. So I was always drawing, and then you know, and I told the story on the Making Fun documentary about my grandfather first, you know, putting the idea in my head about being a toy designer. You know, he was the first person to ever, he was an artsy guy himself, like he could paint and draw, and he did scrimshaw and things like that. And so I don't know, I really dug him, and I looked up to him a lot. And so when he first kind of put that seed in my head, I took it very seriously. And I was probably one of the, you know, first 6-year-olds that when people were like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, either a industrial designer or a commercial artist. Like, that's what
wow.
we called it back then. And they were like, don't you want to be a fireman or
a doctor or
or an astronaut or something? And I was like, well, sure, but no, I want to be a designer. I want to be an artist.
I have to ask, do you still have an early piece of work from when you were 6 years old or younger like that?
No, unfortunately, I don't know where all that stuff ended up.
Fair enough.
You know, my family moved around a lot. There was a lot of purges over the years, and some of that stuff is gone.
Sure.
But a couple of years ago, I went back to my mom's. She lives out in Virginia, and I started rooting through this old chest, and I came across a bunch of drawings as early as, like, sixth grade, I think.
Oh, wow.
And they're pretty disturbing because by then I discovered, like, you know, Motley Crue and Quiet Riot, Conan the Barbarian, and the Beastmaster. So it's lots of drawings of, like, bloody skulls and beheaded warriors and things like that. But yeah, I wish I still had some of those old drawings. It would be fascinating to see again. They're probably horrible, but in my memory, they were dope.
Well, without them, we wouldn't be here. So I'm okay.
Well, as a parent, you always struggle what to do with the pile of art that they make.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I'm already like, I'm getting the side eye, man. Like, I just, like, everything my son brings home, like, the stack is just getting like this. And I'm like,
on a day. That's one day.
The letter J. You know, and I'm just like, keep it.
Like, well, they do. They like my daughter made this thing for me. She's like, Daddy, I made it for you. So when you're sad in a meeting, be happy. Hey, you know, keep it forever. You know what I mean? Like,
that's sweet.
I know, right? And it's like,
Shout
great.
out
Well,
to
I'm going to
Peyton.
keep that forever, right? And I got piles of stuff from all my kids, and it gets to the point where you're like, do they want me to keep this?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. So that's it. So did you go to school for design? Is that what you ended up doing from then to when you went to college?
Yeah, I'm a 2-time community college graduate. Whoop.
Right.
I got 2 associates, which I consider a bachelor's. That's
I was gonna say you just add them together,
Yeah.
right?
2 plus 2. Yeah, I agree.
After high school, I went. Well, right after high school, I wasted a few years trying to be a musician and a loser. And I tried to break into the comic book industry, and I got close, but not that close. And then finally, I was like, all right, I got to go to school and I got to learn something. So there was like a graphic design program at the local community college when I lived in North Carolina at Guilford Technical Community College. So I took it was actually a really good graphic design program. I took it, and then when I got out into the real world after that, I realized that the program was a little archaic and I was a little behind. So I struggled as a freelancer for 3 years or so, and then went back to school, moved to Seattle, and found the Seattle Central Community College, whatever it's called, a design program, and went, okay, you know what, I got to get into this. And it's actually like, you know, a pretty good program. People talk about it a lot, and
Nice.
yeah, it's highly credited. So I joined that program, graduated from there, and then a couple months after that, I was working for Mike Becker.
Wow.
Designing kids' t-shirts. And
so so what year was that you started working for Funko or Becker? Was it Becker before Funko?
Yeah.
I started working for
t-shirts.
Becker 2000.
Oh,
what year is this?
20.
We're 2020 now. Come on.
Unfortunately, 2020 is still here.
Yes, it's.
I mean, the funny thing is, we say like we hate 2020, but 2021 is right around the corner. I don't see it getting any better. But that said,
right.
Yeah.
So I think it was like 11 or 12 years ago.
Oh wow!
I started working for Becker, drawing t-shirts. I think.
Wow.
And I worked for him
Funko though, right?
It was not Funko. It was a company
not.
called 4 Seasons Design. Becker had already sold Funko and wasn't. Wasn't even involved in Funko at all at the time. And then, so yeah, I was designing t-shirts for him. I already knew what Funko was. I knew the company. Sure. I remember Funko Force 2.0 had come out.
Oh yeah.
And I bought the Boba Fett, and I really liked it. And I guess it was like maybe a year after I started working for Becker, I saw my first pop in a Target store. It was back when even Batman had a bobblehead.
Oh yeah. Yep.
When you bought him in Target, and I bought it because I don't know, I thought it was really cute. I thought it was amazing. And what was funny is, God, so like there was this other dude, Randy, that I worked with, and Amos, who works at Funko now still. Yeah. He used to work at 4 Seasons, and then he went on to Funko.
That's crazy.
Before me, a few years before me. And then I remember coming into work one day and Randy going, yeah, man, I had dinner with this guy, Amos, who he used to sit where you're sitting, and he works at Funko now. And I was like, oh, really? He goes, yeah, he showed me some stuff they're working on. He's like, it's right up your alley. You'd love it, man. They're like cute. They look like if Batman was Hello Kitty, man. It was cool.
That's true.
I was like, really?
That's like the best way of describing it, actually. Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah, I remember him kind of, and I was like, oh, really? Okay. And then it gets like I don't know, 6 months, 8 months later, something like that. I saw my first Batman, and then I brought it in the office and put it on my desk, and Randy was like, that's what I was talking about. That's what David showed me. And I was like, oh, really? And that's how I discovered Pops, man, working for Becker.
Wow. And so did that t-shirt
in a completely separate company.
Is that t-shirt company ultimately became Funko South?
No.
Or some journey along the way differently there?
Yeah, like it kind of like, so Becker was like the art director for that t-shirt company. It's owned by a guy named John Borsini. And so what happened was they were located up here, like in Mill Creek. and then they moved, or maybe Bothell, I can't remember. Nobody knows where I'm talking about. And then they decided to like do a move down to San Diego, and they were like, "So you're going with the move, right?" And I was like, "No, I just bought a house here, you know, like I'm not doing that." But Becker kept me on staff for a while, and so I worked remotely. And then eventually that kind of petered out, and Becker had already been like, kind of thinking about, man, I want to do my own thing again, and you know, and he was working with some other artists, you know, trying to come up with these tin collectibles, and he had some cool ideas. And I was the one that was like the most gung ho. I was like, let's do it. Like, I'll join you on this adventure. Because I knew I was probably going to get laid off soon, because I wasn't, like, they had established an office down in San Diego, and I was one of the remote guys. I knew it was just, you know, the writing was on the wall. I was a dead man walking. So I was like, well, I'll take a leap and join Becker on this. So, you know, for a couple of years there, we started Mixo.
I remember Mixo.
And I was making like tin and paper craft. Got to my first San Diego Comic-Con because of that, and had a lot of fun. Me and Becker had a lot of adventures. Like there were nights, man, where like me and Becker, we'd work all day on the new designs and stuff, and it was very exciting. And then we'd go eat like a burrito somewhere, and then go on these big long walks in San Diego along the water, and you walk by the USS Midway, and you walk by the Star of India, the boat, and it was just so much fun. And we'd talk, and we'd come up with new ideas and stuff, and man, it was a really heady time, and it was a lot of fun, and I knew it was going to lead somewhere. Like, I had a gut feeling, you know. I didn't realize that, you know, Mariotti was going to like come by our booth one day and be like, and then buy us like the next day. Which is basically what happened.
That's funny. You know, speaking of Amos,
and I came along with the sale, so I like landed on my feet.
Speaking of Amos, look, I got these cards. Amos, yeah, by Amos, all signed by Amos. Yeah, so and he did a lot of Motu stuff.
Oh yeah,
early on. So anyway,
that's me and Amos's like that's our connection, man. Him and I will talk Motu for hours sometimes.
Yeah, nice. I could do the same thing. Yeah, so that's I remember. I only learned about Amos as an artist because I was collecting Funko Motu, and then I learned early on he did a lot of the designs, and then I bought like some of those cards of He-Man and Skeletor that he made, and stuff like that. We do have a question that's interesting from Mark Rosario. He says, "What was the design of the first shirt you created there?" Would you even remember that? Does it matter?
Can you just make something up?
I did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shirts.
It was Batman. Okay, good.
No, you know what? Because we didn't do a lot of licensed stuff at the time. So what we did there, it was like I was doing kids shirts. I mean, that's mostly what we did anyway. I mean, we did some adult graphics, you know, but I did a lot of kids stuff because my style was so cartoony. So, you know, what would happen is like a retailer like I don't know, JCPenney or somebody would be like, "Hey, we need boys, you know, 4 to 6, and you know, shirts, and we want, you know, monster trucks and aliens." And I'd be like, "All right," and so I'd draw like aliens driving monster trucks or some, you know, shit like that. And
it sounds like a game show.
It was something along those lines. I'm sure it was, you know. And but what's funny is, just to get back to the toy thing. So when I was at Four Seasons, they do a thing that's called GWP, gift with purchase. And so their shtick is you buy this kid's T-shirt, but there would be this little toy or tchotchke like connected to it. Mm-hmm. So the idea was, it's kind of like the prize in the cereal box. And so you want the kid to be like, "Mom, I want this shirt," because it comes with, you know, a knockoff Transformer, or, you know, a little toy airplane or something like that. We make it look cooler. Sometimes they come with like headphones, like really cheap headphones. And so what happened is Becker had gone over to this big toy convention in Japan, I think. And he came back, and they had struck a bunch of deals with these like I hate to say it, but like, you know, kind of cheap toy manufacturers, and they were like, "Hey, we can buy this in bulk, and these things cost like 50 cents a piece to add on, but they can change the graphics if you want." And nobody at the T-shirt place wanted to be in charge of that. And I was like, "I'll do that. Like, I'll be the toy guy." So what they would do is, and Becker was like, "Okay, great, wonderful." So what they would do is they'd go over there and they'd say, "Hey, this is a neat little thing, you know, it's like something. They tried to find things that were like kind of different. I remember one of the examples was they had like these cheap knockoff Transformers, you know, and they brought them back. And they said, okay, you can't change like sculpt or molding or anything like that, but you can change the packaging and like the stickers that go on them, the decals. And I said, okay, great. So I took all these cheap Transformers, you know, one turned into like a submarine and one turned into a whatever. And I gave them names and I wrote a story and I drew this comic book story for the back of the packaging. I made some good guys and some bad guys. I basically just knocked off.
I mean, it's just like you going back to your childhood. Like, oh, this is fantastic.
Kinda, yeah. And I changed the graphics on them. And I remember I added this like sticker that were these gems on their chests, and they had to. Certain ones had certain gems, were different factions, and I came up with this whole storyline and names and everything like that to make it look like a more cohesive toy line. So it looked like we had planned that shit all out from the beginning.
Wow.
And then had these robots made. No, we bought the robots dirt cheap and tried to make them look cool. So that was like an example of one of the things I did. And that was like I said, nobody else wanted to do it. So I was like, I'm your Huckleberry, because I thought that was a step to get into the toy industry, even if it was, you know, the lowest rung of the ladder. But that's how you do it.
Wow.
Now, do you still have any of those?
Oh yeah, you know what? I was digging through a box the other day and I found a bunch of stuff I'd worked on. I came up with this. They went and they bought a bunch of spy kit stuff. You know, it was like binoculars, and secret code breaker and stuff. So I came up with this like cool packaging, and I hid secret codes that you could break, and each package had a different mission, and we tied it into the T-shirts that were glow in the dark, so they would glow a secret message in the dark, and it was all about code breaking and spying and stuff. And I found some of those the other day, and I still have them. And it's funny too, because I needed a fingerprint for the fake ID card, so it's actually my thumbprint that's on the, because I just scanned my thumb on the scanner.
Oh wow!
But yeah, so
note to self.
You're gonna have to post some of those. That sounds fascinating.
Yeah,
I'd love to see a follow up on that.
I'll dig them out.
I think it's funny you mentioned secret codes and then all the codes you put on your tiny ghosts now. That
yeah, well, I've always been like a cryptography like weirdo. Yep. Like I read lots of books on cryptography and cryptograms and
very cool.
Side shows.
It's cool.
Yeah. I'd like to hide it more.
Yeah, people work on it for hours.
I know. I thought I did a really hard one on the skateboard back here, but somebody broke it.
So that's what it's there for, right? It adds a little interactivity. That's what nerds do. So Mixo gets sold to Funko, and now you're a part of Funko, right? And Becker, did he stick around, or did he go do his own thing again? Because it seemed like he didn't come back around until after South.
Right. So yeah, he So Mixo got bought by Funko. I got roped in, into it, or that's the wrong phrase, but you know what I mean. I got brought along.
Well, yeah, brought in the acquisition,
which I was stoked about. I was like, woohoo!
Yeah.
And I remember when I first started working, I was under the impression that I was going to be like kind of separate from all the other artists. Like I was just going to be like this tin paper craft guy. But it didn't take long before I was like working on pops and stuff, so yeah, and then Becker went and tried a couple other things for a couple of years there. And then at a certain point, we just caught wind that Becker was coming back and he was going to run our apparel stuff. And so he ended up leaving Four Seasons Design and coming back to Funko and developing.
Oh, so it wasn't like an acquisition. They just created a new division.
Yeah, so Four Seasons Design still exists. And we still work with them, actually. They do a lot of our t-shirt printing and boxing and stuff for like the collector's boxes and stuff. So we still have a relationship with that team. But now Becker's just running Funko South.
Wow, that's fast. I thought here like the brilliance of him is just like, I'm just going to create things and sell it to Brian Mariotti every couple years.
The shoe fits, man.
not a bad gig.
He's an idea guy, and that's why I liked teaming up with him in the beginning, because like I said, we'd go on these long walks and we would just like roll ideas, and him and I were actually really good together idea wise, because he'd start something or I'd start something, and then the next person would. It was like we were playing idea ping pong, and next thing you know, we came up with this crazy idea. Some of the stuff never came to fruition. Right. Like I don't know, which is a shame. Maybe they will one day. You just never know.
So you get over Funko. What are some of the first lines you worked on there?
So my very first Pops, I think I've told this story before, but Wilkie came over to me. I was sitting at my desk in a hallway. We were,
hallway.
4 buildings ago.
I feel like you're in
It was a
timeout in
much
school
smaller
or something.
building.
Yeah.
They had to go on my first day. They had to go to the Craigslist and find me a desk. And they did. And then I went, well, I don't have a computer. And Brian was like, oh yeah, that's right. So
yeah, but there's something charming about those times, I mean, you look back at it and laugh, but man,
dude,
how
amazing. Like,
but it's like,
I was stoked.
But I miss the
the
we'll
irony is not lost here.
Yeah.
We get it, but yeah.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I was like really at the end of a hallway before like the art department started, and like Amos was like right over here in this little cubicle. Rob was on the other side of the wall from me, so I was kind of getting to know these guys, and then one day Wilkie came over and he was like, "All right, man, you ready to design a pop?" And I was like, "Oh, I think so." Like I was nervous. I was really nervous about it, and so they were like, "All right, you're gonna do Baloo and King Louie from Jungle Book."
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, "Can I just have a human? Humans are easy." And so that was a challenge, man. Like to take this bear and this orangutan, this cartoon bear and cartoon orangutan, and turn them into pops. And I remember like I was real proud of myself because I stuck to the rules, and the eyes were the right size, and they were the right distance apart, and the head was the right side. Like I was like really trying to show these guys. And then Wilkie came over and just changed everything. He's like, make the eyes smaller, closer together. And I was like, wait, what? And so to this day, I still accuse him of hazing me. I was like, I think you were trying to make me design a bad pop on purpose to get rid of me. He swears that's not true, though.
Well, clearly, I don't think that's true.
Yeah. And then,
You've kind of proven that,
I worked on. And then pretty shortly thereafter, I kind of became the Walking Dead guy. Did a lot of Walking Dead. And then around that time, like it didn't take long before I had developed this. I was drawing this one kind of style that ended up being used as the Walking Dead. Oh yeah, there it is. What's that thing worth now?
That's at 90. So it's got some value to it. And after this interview, it's going to go up even more, I'm sure. But here's Louie.
Well, you're gonna get
Louie.
You're gonna get
see how small they made me make the eyes and how close together. I was like, these guys are hazing me. I just know it.
Yeah, you're gonna get.
I wouldn't have noticed that, but now you say it, I think they are too close together.
It's gonna get. I mean, since Clint showed it, it's gonna get the Geek Together bump, so it's gonna go up a little bit now. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what we call it.
Yeah, and then but around that time, I ended up developing I call the empty eye style or the egg eye style that was used for mystery minis for Walking Dead and the horror the series and the sci-fi series. So that was some of the first stuff I kind of worked on.
Oh wow, okay. So at what point, I mean, you're there for a few years. What's your title now? I mean, you've moved up through the ranks there.
Yeah, I'm a creative director now.
Creative director, yeah. So you're running, and what does that mean? But they're over a certain amount of lines, right? So what lines are you in charge of there?
I'm in charge of Marvel, Star Wars, and action figures.
So little ones.
I was going to say, what are you not in charge of? Let's go that route.
And I'm starting to take on retro toy stuff.
Oh.
Some retro toy stuff.
So like sodas? Are those you?
I work on soda a little bit, but I mostly when it involves one of my licenses that are under me.
Gotcha.
But I kind of defer to Wilkie on sodas because he's got like a super tight handle. Like he really understands that style. So usually when I like review a soda, it's because it's one of my licenses that I'm overseeing. But when it comes down to like styles and the rules of design on soda, then I defer to Wilkie because he kind of really knows it.
Makes sense.
I need to get some Marvel soda out there. None of that out there.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, so that's licensing. That's a department we're not in.
Robbie, calm down.
I mean, that's a lot of that stuff comes down to contracts and things that we don't have anything to do with.
Right.
We let the licensing people deal with that, and then one day they'll just tell us, okay, we can do Marvel sodas, or we can, or whatever.
So they may say that Marvel's like, no, we don't want our stuff in that line.
Well, and then you got to get into the Marvel bobblehead portion of it if you did Marvel, right? With the licensing.
Possibly. I mean, it depends on the contract. I mean, there's different rules to every contract, and then usually for what a lot of people don't understand is like for a license, for every license that we have, we're not the only one who have a contract for it.
That's true.
So a lot of times we can't step on the toes of another company that has a previously established contract. So sometimes, I'm not saying anyone in particular, but we've had licensors that are like, man, we'd love for you to make this, but unfortunately we signed this deal with so-and-so 2 years ago, and it's going to step on their toes, so we just can't.
You can't do it.
And we go, great.
But then you play the long game, right? You wait it out. The contracts expire. They could decide to move things around. I think I've seen some of that happen.
You definitely have, yeah.
I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I know there was a major shuffling in Motu licensing recently, all over the place. I can just tell by where I'm throwing my money at,
right?
and who I'm no longer throwing my money at.
So, Reis, quick question on this. Then, do you get? I know you said somebody else handles it, obviously, but do you get ever like consulted when negotiating a license or a contract because of the limitations or lack thereof of what you guys can do?
Occasionally, but it's rare. It's usually in the sense of like, say we're working with a licensor to maybe broaden a contract that we already have. And there might be a category, say like action figures, that is coming available or could come available if we were willing to pay for those rights. And then sometimes like Brian or somebody else will come to me and just be like, hey man, like we might be able to get the action figure rights for this. Do you think there's any meat on that bone? Like, should we actually make action figures out of this? And so then I'll kind of give my advice or whatever. Like sometimes I'll be like, yeah, actually people have been wanting action figures for this for a while. Or I'll say, whew, action figures for that line's been done to death by 3 different companies. I don't think we should touch it. And then Brian will go, all right. And then he'll either, take it into consideration or not.
Right. But still, I appreciate that input. That's nice. I know, at least in my job, they're like, here, you got to do this. I'm like, how? You gave me no resources to do it, but thanks anyway. So, excellent. I'm glad to hear that.
So when you say
my dog's about to start like barking like crazy.
No, it's okay. Our daughter
ours will join. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
It's okay. I just had a 4-year-old climbing on me, begging to join the podcast.
That's work from home con, everybody. That's what we do. Working from home con.
Yeah, that's how it works, man.
So you mentioned retro lines. What does that entail? Like, what's included in what's considered the retro lines?
I don't know if I can talk about that yet.
Okay. All right. We don't want to get you in trouble.
Now that I say it.
No, well, okay. That's why I asked.
We look forward to future teases.
Yeah, I look forward to that. That's very intriguing to me. That's why I asked the question, because I was like, I don't remember.
All of us, yeah.
Let's switch to something we can talk about. So, I mean, licensing, etc. We know you do work on licensed products, but you've had a few original lines come out, right? You have the Wetmore Forest, right? You have a lot of the the spastic or fantastic plastic, and the new Boo Hollow, right, on the Paka Paka series. And I know, well, once we didn't even have to know it was you. Once we saw him, we knew.
No, yeah.
No, I knew exactly.
I think it was the eyes. The eyes for me gave it away.
I don't know. It was like the skeleton. Oh, you could just tell it was like Reis O'Brien all over it. Like, it could have been released under a different company.
Yeah, they're kind of like, those are straight out of my psyche.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people will probably remember Boo Hollow wasn't Boo Hollow a few years ago. It was just this series of drawings. I was playing around with a new style, and I was just drawing them and posting them on Instagram.
Yep.
And at one point, I think I opened up commissions, and people were like ordering some, and I was drawing commissions for people for a little while there. And then that kind of went away, and then Nina, one of my favorite people on the entire planet, she just for fun, because we do this sometimes, she started sculpting them like at home, and then she'd post it on Instagram, and so people started getting kind of excited, but there was no plans for it. We were just like kind of playing around. And then one day, I guess, Brian and some others, they were looking for some new ideas, and when we were talking about this capsule line, inspired by like Gashapon machines from over the ocean there, and they were looking for ideas and stuff, and to this day we're not entirely sure how Brian saw my drawings. Yeah, there's a little bit of a mystery, but I think maybe they were, because I had some pinned up near my desk, And so I think you might have seen him there or whatever. But just, yeah, one day I went up to Brian's office to talk to him about something completely separate. And I look on his desk and I see my little Halloween drawings there. And I was like, what are you doing with those? And he was like, dude, I love these. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, we need to make them. And I was like, okay. You know, like I just didn't even know what happened. And so Boo Hollow was kind of born right then and there.
Yeah, I think he follows you on Instagram on the "This is not Brian Mariotti." Don't worry, it's not Brian Mariotti looking for stuff. That's funny. I mean, yeah. So when we saw him, once the preview came out or the teaser came out, I remember Christine and I looking at it like, oh wow, that's right out of the Notebook. We knew it. We're pretty familiar with it. Now, do you work?
Yeah, they're my guys. They're my babies.
Yeah, they're awesome, and we've already pre-ordered them, so we can't wait for them to come out.
Multiple cases.
That's right.
We just had PPS come in, and I checked. Oh, they're so good. They're just
nice.
They fill me with joy.
Well, it's got to be awesome. I mean, it's one thing to work on Walking Dead and Marvel and stuff like that, but it's got to be awesome to get to the point where you get to take the things out of your head and then make them into toys, and they're out there and they're everywhere, and people are loving them.
That's the most rewarding, honestly. Yeah. You don't get to always do it, but with Paka Paka, a lot of the artists are getting a chance. Saw that Clint. A lot of the artists are, getting a chance to like really stretch their creative muscles, and it's a huge success so far. Like it's just and what's really good is that, like, the whole art department is jazzed now. Like, you get reinvigorated when you really get to be that creative. So there's some amazing stuff coming out. We have these like kind of art jams. Like we'll do a 2-hour lunch and order pizzas, and everybody, well, when we were in the office, we'd all sit in our big conference room, and everybody's just got pads of paper and markers and pencils and crayons and all kinds of, and they're like, okay, come up with Paka Paka ideas, and we just whatever comes out of your head.
That's so cool.
That'd be fun to watch.
Fun. Let me tell you, man, like 90% of it, like no way would make a toy, but God, I wish they would. Like some of the stuff you'll never see is just like hilarious. And then one time they did this thing where they would just, there was like a couple of bowls with words on pieces of paper, and you would pick one from each bowl, and you would have to combine them. And so like one bowl was like nouns, and one bowl was like adjectives or verbs or something like that, or adjectives, I think. And so you would get something like, stinky frogs. And so you got trying to come up with a line.
Is that how you got Toilet Ninjas?
Frogs, or I don't know.
Yeah, is that how Toilet Ninjas came to be? Somebody just picked it out of a bowl?
Yeah, not from picking the words, but Schwartzy came up with that. Just doodling. We were having an art jam, and it's so fun because everybody's just kind of coming up with whatever. And when you're doing that, you have no rules. You're just like, whatever, just come up with it.
That's cool.
Get it out of your head. Sometimes you got to move ideas out of the way so that the real good one can come out too.
Right.
So sometimes we're just doing that, and I remember Schwartz sliding that across the table, and we were like, "Are those ninjas pooping?" And he was like, "Yeah."
Oh yeah.
We laughed, and we were just like, "Bah!"
Brings out the 7-year-old in all of us, right?
And they got picked.
They're cool.
They're very popular. Yeah,
they're very popular.
Right?
So
like it's hilarious.
So Nooklin20 in the chat asks, "Can we get Boo Hollow town pieces, play sets?"
Ooh.
I can't. I don't know if I can answer that.
Just take the suggestion back to the powers that be. And let us know.
We'll just go there.
Well, they may already be drawn.
Oh, I was okay with what. Yeah, just planting the ear. There you go.
And just like sometimes, like something will start to get a ball rolling, and I like to keep that momentum, that kind of creative momentum going. So sometimes, whether or not it's approved or it's ever going to happen, I start drawing it anyway.
Right.
So what happened was Boo Hollow quickly started to, in my mind, started to gel like a Halloween version of the Smurfs, and so I started picturing these little houses and play sets and villages, and little vehicles and things like that they could ride in. So whether or not those ever come to fruition, I don't know. But again, once we're back in the office, I'll just pin them up on my desk.
And you just keep posting them.
Hey Brian, did you see this?
Tag not Brian Mariotti.
That's my tactic, man. I'll leave something just pinned up behind me for like 2 years, and just like
One day he'll walk by.
Every time Mariotti comes in to talk to me about something, I hope it like subliminally gets into his head a little bit, and then one day he'll just be like,
"It's good to see
"Hey,
you.
we should make that."
What's going on?
Yeah.
How are you?"
That's how
So
Primal Age came about.
Yeah.
I believe that. So with Boo Hollow specifically, this question pops in my head. Did you ever think about, when that idea popped in your head, holding back and not sharing that and keeping it for yourself, kind of thing, for something else?
Well, it was for myself. When I started drawing it, I was just doing it for fun, but you know, Brian saw the sketches on my desk, thought they were great. I had no plans for them.
Right.
Like,
just curious.
So yeah, when he was like, "Let's make these," I was like, "Word!" Like, because I just wanted to exist. I just wanted to be alive, you know.
Sure.
And it happened around the time when we were really talking Paka Paka, you know, and everybody was getting like really excited about Paka Paka. So I was like, "Oh my god, if these could make it into Paka Paka, like it would just be a dream come true." And it happened. So yeah, I guess to answer your question, I didn't really have any plans for him at all. And so I guess it was just like, you know, good fortune that Brian saw him and was like, "Hey, you know."
Nice.
Well,
I'm going to Poppin' Beard's website right now to see if he's any left for pre-order.
I was actually gonna ask.
Listen, man, whoever, I don't know how many people are people watching this right now.
Yeah, almost.
We got almost 90 in here.
Whoa, people, listen to me and tell all your friends, buy Boo Hollow, buy them by the case, buy them by several cases. I want this to sell like hotcakes because I want a series 2 and I want villages and I want all this stuff. And,
Reese has plans now.
I got plans, man.
Our friend Prog says he's always watching you.
That's right.
So,
whatever that means.
That's not creepy at all.
That's not creepy at all.
He's right outside my window. I see him.
Wave.
But he's nice enough to join us on Twitch too to get us our numbers up. So that's good. Thank you.
Poppin' Beard has the individual ones online, but the cases is all sold out.
So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. They are clearly being bought.
I have 3 cases coming myself. 3 cases.
I need these to sell like hotcakes, man.
Yep.
Oh, they will. They're adorable.
They're already sold. You can't do anything if they're already sold. You know what I mean?
We can't buy more right now. Like it's just a tease.
I have no production quality here to add to it.
You know what? So you know what you do in cases like this is, because people ask, you know, like, well, how can I make sure things get made? If you can't buy them, if they're sold out, contact retailers. Send them emails going, "Hey, are you going to get more of these in? Hey, can you get some more of these?" That really works. That does trickle back to us. And people, like, we do hear from retailers, you know, that say, "Wow, we're getting a lot of questions if we're going to restock this. Can we reorder some?" And we go, "Not a problem. We'll make some more," you know, or whatever. So that's a good thing, man. We need that kind of feedback from people. So yeah, so please buy them. And if you can't buy them right now, send an email, send several emails, get your friends to send emails and just be like, "Hey man, I want these. When can I order them from you, Mr. Retailer?" And Mr. Retailer will go, "I'll be right back." And they'll come to us. And that's how things get made. Demand.
I'm just gonna put this out there. Poppin' Beards will be on the program in a few hours.
Okay. So we're gonna hit him with. That's all we're gonna do is we're gonna ask him like,
why chat. Make sure to do your part.
Just tell him to contact Funko and be like, "Hey, I gotta order some more of those Boo Hollow."
That's right.
Oh, we will. Don't worry.
We will definitely will. So I have one last question on the Funko side because we're at the midpoint pretty much, and then I want to, or actually past that. Wow. And I want to talk about Bim Toy Tiny Ghost journey, the Spastic line. You've worked on some of those as well, right? And I wanted to, you know, I don't know the story behind it. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's talk about the one.
Oh,
so the story,
we know which one.
Yeah, I want to go to the story behind it. And actually,
Halloween or sharks.
And by the way, Tanner, well, you did that one, but you also well, you didn't make the design, but you also participated in the contest, the Funko contest. Tanner's actually in the chat, where you worked on Batboy.
I took. You're talking about Batboy?
Yeah, Batboy.
Yeah. So that was a funny thing. That was one day I was off. Why was I home? I was sick, or I don't know. Something happened. I remember I was home for some reason, and yeah, I got a text from Mariotti, and he was like, "Hey, this won a contest. Can you just kind of like give it a little redesign, a little bit to fit, you know, a little more into the pop world?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And so I was like, what? There was a contest? Like, I had no, just not involved. Like, I didn't know what was going on in marketing and stuff. And then, so it wasn't until later that I heard, oh yeah, they had this, like, you know, design a fantastic plastic contest, and this guy won. And I was like, I know that design. That's that Gruesome Knives guy, like, on Twitter.
There you
I've
go.
seen that. And so I was actually really glad that he won. I was like really proud of him. And then we had met once before, I think, at a Fun Days or something. But then I got to see him again after at the last year's Fun Days, after Brian gave him the proto, or the 3D print proto and stuff like that. And God, man, he was over the moon, man.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't have been more happy for him, man. So actually, I didn't design it. He designed it. I just
right. I know.
up a little bit. And then I remember apologizing. I was like, I'm sorry, I changed your design. You know,
I was just gonna say that. How he told you he apologized. He's like, you're the master. You tell me, kind of thing. He told me about it.
You know, but you don't want to step on any designer's toes, you know. But you know, sometimes things just need a little. You got to put a little of that certain spice, you know, in order to get it made, and that's all I did to it. But it was an honor to be involved in it, man. He's going to talk about that the rest of his life, you know.
Oh,
I think we all might.
Yeah, we were all there.
We were
all very happy he won, and
it was fun to celebrate.
And I think his statement on it was, when I talked to him about it, and he did tell the story afterwards about how you were like, "Hey, sorry," but I get there's a designer etiquette, right? Like it's somebody's stuff, and you're changing it around, and he was like, "I don't care. I'm honored. I'm glad it was Reis."
He even said that just now in the chat.
Oh yeah. Oh, did he? Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
he said it right there. Yeah. He said it was an honor to have Reis work on him. So there you go. All right.
Yeah, it was really nice running into him at Fun Days last year, man. Like that was one of the highlights of my night that night, and yeah, I don't know, man. I am really proud to be a part of it. And then I have designed a lot of spastics, but they never get picked.
Do you guys still call them spastics in the office?
Actually, I don't know what we like. Well, I guess we call them fantastic plastic.
I'm only curious just because the boxes haven't been updated yet. They still say spastic on every single
no,
one. Yeah,
like one or two.
Only one.
I think maybe Bat Boy, right?
Spastic, and it's Bat Boy, yeah.
It's Bat Boy. Bat Boy's the only one that's fantastic.
Like that was another thing I wasn't aware of until like much later. I was like, wait, why are we changing the name of these?
Yeah, just saying.
But you know, I understand. Whatever, that's fine. But I have designed a ton of them, like because every now and then, like Wilkie or Ben Butcher will just be like, hey guys, we need some fantastic plastic designs for Brian to look at. Come up with whatever, and I'll come up with 6, 8, and they're always just too weird. It's like
like alrighty.
I think that's a straight
no. Reis, go design some Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. Go watch Mandalorian again. Good ideas.
Like they always get close. Like Brian's like, there's something here, but that's strange. I did this one. It's completely made of meat. So like the body's like a T-bone steak, and like the limbs are all sausages, and there's like the bottom of the torso pieces of bologna. And, it's so bizarre. And when I'm drawing them, I'm like, I'm a brilliant genius. And then Brian looks at him and he's like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Just saying, I'd buy that. I'd buy that.
All right,
I was going to say, I might too.
I think it's great.
We're going to go rapid fire on the Tiny Ghost stuff now. So we're going to shift gear to Tiny Ghost. So when did you first start? Well, we have, but it's okay. So when did you start?
The origin of a Tiny Ghost. I've told that one a million times.
A million times. Yeah, that's true. But in the middle,
we don't like it.
Doesn't mean we don't like it. Yeah. The question I had there, and I think it was sort of what Clint touched on earlier. How do you keep that division between what goes BIM Toy and the stuff you're creating and the lines you're doing there, and what goes Funko?
Well, usually it starts with a very clear intent. Like that's my way of doing it. There's basic rules like don't design BIM Toy stuff when you're on Funko's dime, and so I work on BIM Toy at home. I keep it very divided. I also try to keep BIM Toy stuff very non-Funko-esque. You know what I mean?
Sure, I get that.
Like Funko's not going to release Waldegeist. It's too weird. They're not going to release the Lords of Abaddon action figures. Like it's too weird. So I try to make sure, and then so sometimes when I'm drawing something, whether I'm at work or I'm home, sometimes I'm drawing something. I'm like, you know what? This is a Funko thing. and I'll just, and so my brain, I'll just be like, all right, I'll take this to work on Monday and show it there. But yeah, usually I start out with a very clear intent. We have a new line coming out from BIM Toy this year, a whole new line that I've teased a little bit, that I sat down and I was like, okay, I'm going to make a new BIM Toy line. And so as long as I start out that way, it's pretty good. You know, Boo Hollow is a weird one because I didn't even intend Boo Hollow to be
anything,
a BIM Toy
like
product.
Right, okay.
I didn't intend for it to be a product at all. I was literally just drawing for the fun of it and came up with it.
Okay, that makes sense. There are a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions here. The big thing is they want to know what's this.
All right, rapid fire some questions.
What's this metal tease you put out there? Everybody's like going crazy for that.
The what?
The metal. The ghost.
The volcanic.
The bottom volcanic.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh, there we go. There's your answer, folks.
Don't you know? Come on, no.
Can you tell us approximately when we might find out?
No,
it's like later.
It's still in kind of not early development, but definitely mid development. But we're getting there. It's we're trying something new. This is actually an idea on Arsenie's part. And he I don't want to say too much, but we're trying new things, man. We're just trying things to offer people. Like,
I like that.
And so you'll see.
Yeah, we will.
Sure will eventually.
We'll be watching. And then we're getting some comments about people want some Creeptoids. When can we expect some new Creeptoid stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Favorites.
I do need to work on some Creeptoid stuff. I work a lot. And
you do.
Sometimes I can't flesh out one idea before another one hits me. But yeah, Creeptoids definitely needs to. We're still trying to kind of figure out what Creeptoids is. The prints are doing well. The pin sold pretty well.
The pin was cool. I like the pin a lot.
I'm glad you like that.
Yeah, I like the pin.
Yeah,
shirts are great.
The shirts are great. I got the shirts.
I think they're Is it?
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Vampire
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shirts. So yeah, I'm trying to think about what it is. Like, do we want to do a vinyl? The other thing is, like, we're a small company, and sometimes I get way ahead of the guys. Like, I'll be like, we're going to make this vinyl, and we're going to make this vinyl, and I want this set of minis, and Joe and Arseny had to be like, whoa, we only have so much startup money. And I'm like, mold cost.
Well, you're
that's
used
why
to
they're there to keep you roped in.
They're like, calm down, dude.
But I mean, you're excited about making stuff, and then you're also working for your company in the day job. That's exactly how it can happen. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What do you mean you have money for mold cost? What? We can pump out 40 a day.
No, it's nuts. It's kind of crazy. So I don't know, Creeptoids. I also don't know. Like, one minute I was like, is Creeptoids like Walda guys? Because these like big Sofubi vinyls. Mm-hmm. That's originally how I was kind of looking at them. I don't know.
Interesting.
I think I need to team up with one of my sculpting homies and just sculpt one up, have one sculpted up, and see how it feels.
Ask Jason how he feels about it. Isn't he in the chat? See what he thinks they should be.
Oh yeah, Jason is in the chat. Yes.
Which Jason?
Comment.
Jason Rowe.
BIM Toy Jason, your coworker.
Oh yeah.
So before I just want to make sure I say this because I promised I would. Yesterday we had Ming Chen and Mike Zapsik hanging out with us, guys. And they have a request from you.
From me?
For you specifically, they want to see a vinyl figure of the candy corn Sharktopus. Their words, not mine. So there, promise delivered. The messenger did his job. I'm just telling you what they said.
Okay.
You go from there.
Yeah.
Candy corn Sharktopus. Quote unquote.
Where did that come from?
No idea. They were just making it up.
Well, they were looking at the back of the wall and they're like, "Oh, we love Reis and all this stuff he does. I want to see a Sharktopus with candy corn." You have to go back and watch, to be honest.
Right,
so you can go back. It was on the. You can go to the Geek Together Twitch channel, twitch.tv.
You're gonna have to send them the link.
I'll send you the link.
They were two of like the nicest dudes on the.
Oh,
planet.
they were a lot of fun.
Guy, like I listen to Tell 'em Steve Dave religiously, and then Ming and Mike do I Sell Comics and a bunch of other podcasts, and like I'm a huge fan of those guys. So like it was such an honor to get to meet them and Bry and Walt. I still haven't met Q, who's on Impractical Jokers, but he's on Tell 'em Steve Dave with Brian Walt.
Yep.
Man, I'm just like a huge fan of those guys. So when I finally got to meet them, you know how they shouldn't meet your heroes. They always say that, but like in this particular case, they couldn't have been the nicer dudes, man. I just like Mike Zapsik and Ming, like they're just solid guys, man. Like when you talk to them, you feel like you've been friends with them forever. And I love those dudes.
Our interview with them was very easy because they did all the interviewing.
Yeah, they did.
Brought up the topics and did their own. It was great.
Guys. Yeah, they're awesome. They can talk, dude.
You would think that they podcast for a living.
Right. You think
yeah, like it was great. Doing. Like we just like set it and forget it. I'm like, sweet, I don't have to talk. And Ming's
you have an hour. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
Like here, we're gonna give you the camera. You guys just do a show. No, but
I need to get on with them. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leverage my Sharktopus candy corn drawing. I'll be like, if I can get on the
get me on the podcast, we'll talk about it. There you go.
I like where this is going. This is a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it started here, folks. It started here.
Rolling, man. I appreciate that, guys.
I'm just happy that we can bring it together. That's our part.
By geeking together.
Geeking together.
Love you, Ming. Love you, Chief.
They're actually very clear. Like, it was huge. Like, because one of the biggest moments for them was getting their pops. Like Ming's a legit Funko collector, right? And so getting their pops, and they're working with you on that, right? Like, we kept asking. It
started at Funko South, but when Comic Book Men first started, I was trying to get Comic Book Men and Impractical Jokers pops made. And it just kind of sat on the vine for a long time and never really happened. And then somebody at Funko South got something rolling, and all of a sudden it was like it's happening, and I was like, sweet. So I was actually really jazzed that we finally got to do those guys and Kevin Smith. Actually, you know what? Funny enough, one of my earliest pops that I designed were the first Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh, nice.
And
really?
That was because I was a huge fan of Kevin's Smodcast that he does with Scott Mosier, and so I was like a big fan of those podcasts, and so I was like, "Ooh, I want to do Jay and Silent Bob."
Did you get to work on the Iron Bob?
I did not. So I'm not in charge of that kind of stuff anymore. So
that's Marvel, right?
No, so we're big. Clearly we grew up around the same time, Reis, because Motu and Kevin Smith. I remember seeing Clerks for the first time and mind blown, and I've been a follower of his. Christine and I did one of those road shows he did for the reboot.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, and we did the VIP thing, and we were talking to him about Fun Days and Funko, and he told us all about the Iron Bob months ago. This is 6 months ago.
He's not very good at keeping
Not very good at keeping a secret. He's like you, except you're doing good. I'm proud of your secret keeping lately. I think. I have a couple.
Disappointed but proud at the same time.
Disappointed but proud. I do have a couple questions here that I do want to. So somebody says, Vanna Martinez says, Reis, why don't you do a tiny ghost of yourself and call it the Ghost of Reis?
Because that's egotistical.
Either that or it's morbid.
Morbid or egotistical.
Look.
Other people have given you customs, right?
Yeah.
No, nobody's done that, but
not of Reis.
Right?
Well, there was a mini one. Somebody made a mini.
But Isabel gave me this tiny little hat, and if
that's
I put
hilarious.
it on Nerdy.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Done.
There's the home kit right there.
I just talked to Isabel for a little hat.
And Isabel would be the person to know where to find a little hat.
She would be.
For sure.
She's no joke.
No joke. Trust me, I know. I'm aware.
No, I'm not making vinyls of me. I'm not making. That's arrogant.
You should make a vinyl up. Since we're suggesting here is Finn's amazing idea. I love these artist pictures here.
The butts.
There we go. That's what we need. We need minis.
And I'm still drawing him. He's already over him. He is not impressed by my.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
He was like, it was funny the first time, Dad.
Yeah.
Thanks, Boomer.
Whatever.
Can you show those Brian Mariotti? Let's get those in Paka Paka.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Robbie?
Those would be perfect for Paka Paka. Let's get those drawings put in there.
Yeah,
Yep,
just make like a birthday card for him next time, and just hand it to O'Brien for his birthday. And what's this?
Happy birthday! Here's some asses.
Some asses. So one real question.
I drew all those shark doodles, and that became Champu.
There you go. That's true. We're still waiting for our book of shark doodles.
That's true.
Yeah, you know what? That stalled for a second because book layout's a pain in the ass, and we're trying to pay somebody to do it for us.
Fair enough. There was a real question here that I wanted to get to. They said simply about those doodles you've been showing, basically.
The 3-inch doodles.
Oh, look at that one.
There you go.
Robbie.
See, not good at keeping secrets.
That's amazing.
By the way, I did see
That
they
was
had
really
the,
cool.
Cthulhu.
I'll
the
have
second series is out any day now.
Oh.
Isn't he adorable?
Hey,
Damien,
Reese,
we might actually
here's my
need
wallet. Do you want this?
series
I can
two.
just give it to
Don't
you.
worry, these are coming. You know, don't worry.
I saw the
Damien.
sealed box recently.
I heard
very
you.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a picture
I'm
from
sorry,
the
go on.
factory. And they were like, how's this look? And we were like, yeah, ship it.
Those are cool.
Ship it.
That's a lot of those are awesome. But yeah, how about the 3-inch doodles you've been working on and showing? You showed a whole lineup of them just on Instagram. I think last night, yesterday. Was it yesterday?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, show
Yeah,
your
you're
post.
right. I asked about this
Don't
in the
worry,
last
don't worry. They're
podcast.
coming. I mean, yeah, we're you know,
Cool. Just cool.
We'll
We're
get them
good.
into people's hands. Don't worry.
All right.
They're coming. I have more to do. They sent me a box of 36, and I'm only done.
If we send you a box of 36, we do the same thing.
No,
We have about that many, by the way. I mean, we have a lot of them. We are coin
they're all
collectors.
3 inches. Yeah.
Well, they
I
look
still
cool.
have some more to do, and then I'm going to just ship the box back to the guys, and
And they'll figure out how to just.
We're talking about different ways we can get them into people's hands because ain't nobody getting doodles this year without conventions.
That's true.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
That's true.
It's very sad. See,
Very
Clint,
sad.
aren't you very, very happy that I went out of my way to get Reis to doodle one for you in Emerald City?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did I do one for you, Clint?
Oh, this is
You
funny.
gave me a personalized
Yes.
message on the back.
Oh, nice.
My favorite thing.
You walked in. I was like,
I don't think I necessarily wanted that, but Damien had it in his head that I did. But
What did
we
it say
love
on the back again?
Oh, I'm sorry. It says, Clint, I don't have time to draw Nessie.
Oh, that's right, because you asked for Nessie. That's right. That's why we made
I-
sure.
I
It
have
was mostly
Nessie.
because he
people
wanted.
don't
Yeah.
understand, man. Like I do have people occasionally online like bitch about my doodles that I do for them and stuff, and I'm like, bro, like at New York Comic Con, I sat there for 5 hours.
Yeah, you
Right.
know.
That line
Stop
was
drawing.
insanity.
Like there was over 200 people in that line. I drew for everyone. You know, it was hard, man. Like, and I ended up skipping the fugitive party that night because I had to go home or go back to
And
my
ice
hotel
your
room,
wrist.
fill a bucket of ice.
Oh yeah, that's
put my
right.
wrist in it.
Don't worry.
It hurt. I
was
get carpal
brutal.
tunnel just thinking about it.
Yeah, we represented you well there. Don't worry. We were there with
Yeah, I appreciate
a
it.
very tired Joe and Arseny for a few minutes.
I know, God, those guys. Talk about exhausted. Those guys bust their asses.
Well, we're gonna have to wrap up. Unfortunately, I could sit here and talk all day
Okay.
about this stuff. This is fantastic. Thank you
It's always
again.
fun.
This is a great. This was a
Thanks
great
for
hour.
having me, man. I appreciate it.
That was an amazing conversation. I hope you guys in the chat enjoyed it as much as I did because I learned a lot of history there that I had no idea.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun. And I do want to say thanks again. I mean, Joe and Arseny, they refuse to go on anything, podcast or anything, but that's a shame.
I know.
Hopefully we
They're
can
the-
guilt them into it like a contest sometime. But I just want to thank them with the Tiny Ghost group and getting the Fugitive link yesterday. So a lot of people in the Tiny Ghost group were able to get the Fugitive drop yesterday. A lot of people. And so taking care of the community that way.
Gold Manicki.
Yep.
Funko.
Yeah.
What? You're just making that up. There's no Facebook group.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ixnay on the ace.
I'm announcing it now. The link's not active. Sorry. Our join request just went up to like hundreds now. Links?
It probably did.
We want to be there. All right. Again, thanks a lot, Reis. It's been,
man,
as
thank
always,
you
been a
guys for having
pleasure.
me. It's good seeing everybody.
That was an awesome
Likewise.
conversation. For those of you in the chat, what we're going to do is we're going to take a 5-minute break in between. We're going to kind of just put up a coming soon graphic that's going to sit here live, so you don't have to go anywhere. We're not rating anyone. We're on Geek Together for the next 2 hours after this. Next up, we have Plastic Empire coming on. We're going to talk about all their exclusives that they're working on, and they're coming out with this weekend with a lot of the artists that are also going to be on the channel, and kind of how he built his Plastic Empire, if you will. All right. Thanks a lot,
Very
everyone.
nice.
We'll be right back.